competitive play.
Or there's Alawi, who we never see.
Well, that's what I was gonna get to. That is Alawi is the one that just can't seem to make it desirable. Sorry, Alawi. No, nobody wants you and your weird tentacles floating around the rift.
No Alawi, and we will not see Alawi this series. Let's be real.
Yeah. Now, I wish that Rocks would have done that in their sets. It's like, you know what, we have nothing to lose, really. Let's play Alawi. But it was not so. You can see the bans coming out, though. Samsung now over onto the blue side. Going to be keeping it consistent with this Jin and Varus. Echo to come out from Kongdoo Monster. They could just repeat their bans. Rise going to come out if the Graves is it. If we see the Graves and the Kindred here, we'll have the exact same bans.
I think some junglers will fall through the pool, though. That's the big story. Now we know one of Kindred, Nidalee, and Graves, in fact, 2 of the 3 will be available.
Yep, not surprising, though. Forky gets banned out. Edge was really the last vestiges of hope for the side of Kongdoo Monster at the end of that game. Couldn't get those final 2 kills to finish out and stop the victory from Samsung. But last ban coming through, what is it going to be? It was Graves last time, and I think it has to be again. There it is.
Even though we talk about the 3-pronged threat from Ambition, the Kindred, Nidalee, and Graves. Graves is the only one with an impressive win rate. His Nidalee win rate isn't great. He actually is 1-3 on Kindred. So even though we remember that amazing carry performance over SKT, statistically, and I think over the course of a long season, the Graves is the only must-ban against Ambition.
Yep. So we can see Kongdoo coming back into this one, looking like they're just going to go ahead and pick up this Nidalee yet again. Made it through the draft, and this could just put Ambition back on the Elise again. Maybe something like the Gragas could come out, but seemed like he had an interesting performance with that Elise, changing his build about midway through that, but went very much for damage early on, had a Haunting Guise in his inventory, and then shifted, got the Randuin's Omen and the Spirit Visage to go tanky, be that front line. And in the end, was one of those crucial members that survived the final fight to help push in and take down the Nexus.
But even though the Elise wasn't impressive, it still worked. It wasn't punished. Crush had a lot of room with a very greedy build from Ambition. No wards put down really to speak of, and yet Crush did not find space to invade outside of failing to steal away the red buff at level 2.
Yep. Let's see though, with that as your first picked, Hover's coming back in for the Gangplank. Could just see that one locked in. It'd be really early.
Oh boy.
Since the Poppy was shown first, I say go for the Sivir. The GP, I don't know about this one. You know that they have an Alistar. They're going to lock it though.
Still, a lot of power in the lane. Sivir, good wave clear. Azir, good wave clear. You need to get wave clear in other lanes to buy Gangplank the chance to be pushed in, unless we see the Poppy matchup, and then they might have 3 winning lanes.
Yeah. Quite possibly. I don't know if Hippo wants to go back to that one. He had a hell of a hard time in that top side. It looks like the Maokai might be the pickup, and it will be, as well as Kalista. So just going to be a repeat bot lane here. Pretty much everything going to stay the same outside of Poppy and Corki, so 3/5 will come back in here for Kongdoo Monster as they snatch up that bot lane.
Samsung also getting a lot of what they showed prominence with in Game 1, not a lot changing in the draft.
So not surprising.
Game broke, they say.
Yep. Not surprising whatsoever, so maybe the Trundle support here for the Sivir. Played the Braum last time, but no Corki on the side of Kongdoo Monster this time, so you don't need to prioritize the Unbreakable for him to mitigate a lot of that poke damage. Just going to be the Nidalee throwing out the spears this time. But with this last mid lane pick, we'll see what Kongdoo is going to do. Looks like this is Samsung pretty set on what they want. There will be Trundle support and Kindred in the jungle.
Will they try and go for poke? They know there's no Braum. This is a GBM special. He's hovering the Xerath. There's also the outside chance of a Jace, perhaps, if they want to go poke.
Could be Jace. He's come back into the meta. We saw the changes for him with that To the Skies getting buffed up. Now the Jarvan perhaps coming through. We were talking about this interaction earlier on in the set for Rocks Tigers when this was picked by Koro in Game 2. Can, in fact, use the Cataclysm to jump over the Emperor's Divide.
One of the few gap closers not repelled by that ability.
Yeah.
But it'll be a different team comp. But with Kalista, they do have some semblance of team fight. We've seen this go 2-0 so far over the Azir in the Jarvan Azir matchup.
Yeah. The thing that would worry me is it would just be a lot of AD damage. You'd be very reliant on the Nidalee to output your AP damage. Looks like it's going to be LeBlanc here for Edge. He locks this one into the Azir.
Going for the skill matchup instead. Risky against Crown, who's looked good on the Azir.
Yeah.
Big issue for Kongdoo now is the wave clear is certainly at a premium. This could really be a game where if Azir gets on top in mid, if Core JJ is just able to free push in the lane like he did in the previous game, 3 push lanes will be a lot of pressure and again, a lot of time for Gangplank and Azir, the same 2 solo laners, to scale into late game from a Samsung perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going to have to be Crush and Edge applying more pressure in this game. We saw Crush really just not evident in that early game. In game 1, not making any moves to apply pressure with that Nidalee that he got.
Different case here. He has CC in all 3 lanes. Not
That's true.
mid.
This is very true.
It's LeBlanc. So the chains, the targeted twisted advance, and the Alistair flash pole, all great spots. So Crush needs to snowball these lanes, or otherwise I see a pretty mirror game coming through from Samsung.
Yeah, well, if it is a mirrored game, hopefully Samsung can play it a little bit more clean this time. Because it was a very rough performance by them for sure in game 1. But Core JJ looking much more consistent than what we've seen from him in the past on some other champions. The Sivir looking like it's a good pick for him.
And Cuvée, MVP performance on the Gangplank, looked very impressive himself.
Yep, that he did. Let's go ahead and get straight into game 2. Samsung versus Kongdoo Monster. Alrighty, big chant there for Samsung Galaxy.
But there was a Kongdoo chant that time.
There was. That's an improvement. The Kongdoo fans have come out of hiding. They said, you know what? They almost won that first game. Maybe we should speak up and voice our support.
Almost won. I don't know if that's fair.
It was pretty close. Samsung nearly threw that one away.
They made some missteps, but Kongdoo definitely needs to win a couple of engagements in a row to really hopefully win it.
Sure. I'll say Edge almost won that game.
Edge almost edged it out.
He almost edged it out. So far, though, looks like we might end up with standard lanes in the bot side. Neither of these bot duo is going to be rotating up towards the top. Ward is here on the Gromp. They could try to disrupt that and maybe steal it away if this gets started up by Cougar. Already some action in the mid lane here. This is what I like to see. Crown going in with Edge. Going to be trading out the damage. Ooh, actually, Edge does have that ignite. Crown has to be careful. Has the heal as well for him, but he's already going to have to start chugging up these potions. Edge playing forward, just going to throw out one more auto attack, but Crown is going to be at the disadvantage here as he uses both of his spots in that exchange.
Yeah, Edge could have gone for the all-in. Wouldn't have had kill pressure, but could have at least forced the back. A level 1 back would be massive on Crown.
That would be, yeah. Devastating for either side.
Goes for the mathematically correct choice of just pressuring and having the pot advantage.
Well, speaking of trades, we see that bot side starting to trade out in favor of Core JJ and Wraith as Cougar takes a bit of damage, but he is an Alistar.
Hippo's role-playing, standing perfectly still as the tree.
I am just a tree. Don't mind me.
Rhymes.
Just part of the brush.
Ever so lush.
Very good. Crown, though, starting to come out on top of this. Does get Edge to use that second potion. So that'll be a nice little evening of the playing field for him.
Let's see how Cuvée does. Remember, it was a 25-minute Flame Horizon. Now, the Maokai matchup's a bit different. Maokai doesn't need to get into barrel range to clear minions, can throw out saplings pretty happily.
Yeah.
Will itemize more naturally into regen, but wow, the early levels at least. Big HP advantage.
Oh, here we go. Crush coming into the mid lane. Crown gets locked up by the chains. Gonna go down. That's first blood going over to Crush. Nice arrival. Crown getting shut out, trying to go too hard onto Edge and gets taken down.
And something we expected from Crush in game 1 that he never did. This time with CC in all 3 lanes. good to see him finally being proactive.
Yeah, that is exactly what he needed to do. He needs to continue to do. Get Kongdoo ahead and take us to game 3. But first blood comes through. Quite nice here from the Nidalee. Had to use the flash to get in range there, but going to be more than happy to make that trade to get the first blood.
That's what you do when 3 lanes are trying to push up, overextend. Nidalee, powerful clear, great damage jungler, but of course when it comes to ganks, but doesn't have the CC. This time, no way to overlook just how much lane pressure the Nidalee has, and that should be the first of many visits to these 3 lanes.
Yeah, absolutely. We see Ambition, though, of course, just going to be continuing on a farming path through the jungle, trying to get those kindred stacks as well as he moves over to the Scuttle Crab. Looks like Edge knows that this might be going down and wanders up the river. Just going to throw a pink ward, though, in that brush to spot out that kindred where he can. We'll have to see how quickly Ambition can get sated. We just have these extended trades in that bot side of the map. Hippo already going to recall. Going to come back up to this top side, falling slightly behind in CS, but picks up the second Doran's ring, so going to give him a little bit more HP, a little bit more damage to trade back against this Gangplank.
Expecting it heavily to be Catalyst, probably even Rod of Ages has been the favored Maokai build recently.
Yeah, we have seen that quite a bit. Oh, Crown. Does the chain come through? It will connect. Crown dashes away, though. And Ambition arrives just in time. Low on mana, though, so wouldn't be able to do too much work to try to get a kill. But that will dissuade further engagement onto Crown and should keep him alive for the time being. It
was actually really smart from Crown. He actually dashed after this, as the snare was about to register, right next to his teammate. No way to go in, despite the spear landing from Crush.
Yeah.
Good Azir mechanics from Crown.
Yeah. Good indeed, but still has to play cautiously. Maybe get some more vision control around the river. You can see just that one ward sitting in there. Soul and Googer starting to push really far forward here. Have a bit of vision with that sentry moving up through the jungle. So going to try to spot Ambition should he be on the roam down. But they're keeping themselves pretty safe, it would seem. And we can see that's netting a very slight CS lead here for Soul, even with pushing these lanes into the tower for Core JJ. So still getting a little bit ahead.
Inching ahead, as you said, but nothing big. Hippo also able to catch up in CS, so less likely that we're going to see a very early Flame Horizon in top lane.
Yeah. And this is still fine from Samsung. They want Ambition to be able to scale up, get that Devourer on the Kindred, start stacking it. We see just the one dagger coming through so far, not yet going to be getting to the Hurricane. Looks like we might have 2 junglers finding each other in the jungle here as Crush comes around. Is level 6, so Ambition's level 5. I think he's going to go ahead and back off. They see Wraith roaming up through that Tri-Brush, and he will peel back.
You can see Nidalee players slow to adjust to that change. That's the second Nidalee we've seen today. Because the camp isn't rooted, by the time you get vision, it's out pounce range, so you can't pounce over as easily unless you're already in melee range spear-wise. So Nidalee players going to have to play a bit more solo queue Nidalee to pick up to the changes.
Some work and research yet to be done here.
The hilarious thing from a Samsung's perspective is even greedier draft now that they have a Devourer jungler. They have Gangplank, Azir, and Kindred especially all incentivized to extend the laning phase. But they do have good wave clear. So that's the thing, is that because they have the wave clear, they think they have the breathing room to open up scaling from 3 lanes.
Yeah. The thing that is a little bit more scary is that they don't have as reliable of a tank early on. Wraith with this Trundle is not going to get tanky nearly as quickly as a Braum will. Can steal those stats sure with the ultimate, but could still be rough times for him. And GP, of course, we saw in that last game, not a tanky frontline whatsoever.
Nope, not at all. But Ambition looked so impressive on the Kindred last time out against SK Telecom.
Yep.
Just by effective tanking stats and invulnerability.
Oh, it's going to be a flash forward, cannon barrage, and cut off Soul as he tries to retreat over to Googer, has to pop the heal. Fate's Call still available. Actually, no, he's not even level 5. Didn't realize that he didn't even get that. Wraith going forward, going to try to get this one, but uses that Q, the Pierce, to get himself over the wall. Nicely played by Soul, holds on to the flash.
Really well thought out by Soul, as you mentioned.
Oh, Kube flashes away from that Spears. Crush comes up here, has that red buff to slow him up. Can they go for the dive here? Really risky as he throws down the barrel. That will stop them from going any further, but this is good pressure by Kongdoo. In that top side of the map, Edge now going in, gets pushed away by the Emperor's Divide. Here comes Ambition. Can he pick the right target? They pick the wrong one at first, but they go straight over on Edge, find him out. And Crown is going to find that kill, barely living through the trade, but still comes out on top with a kill, evening things up here as far as the kill count goes. But We can see 800 gold lead here coming up from Samsung at the moment.
And at the end of the day, Crown outfoxed Edge. He had a ward in the brush, played like he didn't, and then Ambition was in the right position. Very nice collapse, excellent target selection, and crucially, the kill gold goes over to Crown and accelerates the pace of the Abyssal Scepter.
Yep. You can see the Blasting Wand and the Negatron Cloak have been completed for him. Edge going for the Frost Queen's claim, it would seem. We'll see where he wants to take that build next. Usually we see the Morello Nomicon coming out. Crush goes in though for the invade, takes out the red buff, does get spotted by that pink, but he doesn't want to stick around to clear it out, so just going to go for that invade and go ahead and back out. So denying potential stacks here for Ambition. Good stuff here by Crush, keeping up the pressure game so far.
I actually heavily disagree with going the Frost Queen's Claim build against Azir. This has always been a matchup where if you're not massively ahead and can one-shot the Azir, you're going to take trade damage. It's so predictable that you go in for the Mimic, back to your Shadow, and there goes the Sand Souls. You take a big damage trade with such low magic resist. I feel like the damage trades are going to be really going over to the side of Azir rather than LeBlanc because of the itemization.
Yeah. I have to agree. We can see a fast first dragon coming in though. Ren stacks there. No hope of a seal in sight as Wraith cannot deal any damage over the wall. Wow. This dragon is really dedicated to just resetting and annoying the hell out of Kongdoo.
So what happened was that Wraith put down a Trundle Pillar that stopped the dragon from fully resetting, so it was just healing itself like a centimeter away.
Oh, here we go. Hippo flashing away. Will get out of the cannon barrage. Ambition arriving though. Have the Lamb's Respite available should they want to dive this. Looks like they will. Twisted Advance comes down. Ambition taking this one up. Throws out the Lamb's Respite just in time. Hippo sticking around it as well. Can they finish him off? The barrel is there, but Hippo melee attacks to kill it, and they cannot get the kill. They get the flash out of him, but the Lamb's Respite and the Cannon Barrage go down.
Hippo played that really smartly. Another good play. First it was Soul in the bottom lane, now Hippo in top. The fact they're not giving away that extra gold and potentially lane Snowball bodes well for Kongdoo.
That it does. But slight gold lead at 10 minutes. Not boding nearly as well, but that 6% from the Dragon buff is going to start stacking up as they get these items in. You can see this time Soul making the adaptation to pick up the call, happy to farm up against the Sivir, and we're not going to see that match by Core JJ.
While the true gold lead is 900, the implied gold lead of a team with Gangplank and Devourer Kindred being ahead in the early game is much more than the gold necessarily reflects.
Yeah, that is very true. Very good point. Now Crush just paying more visits to this mid lane, going to be sweeping out some vision this time. Crown intelligently picking that up to try to keep himself safe, and will stop what would have been a gank coming through yet again. We can see he is starting to stretch a little bit of a lead after getting that kill over Edge. About 12 up at the moment, crashing that wave into the tower. We'll see if Edge is able to pick up too much. Meanwhile, on the bot side, on the hunt does get popped. Killer comes down to try to block Soul off. Does have the flash available. The TV going to be coming through from Hippo. Not going to be matched by Kube for quite some time. Big Skull pops him up. No Lamb's Respite, as you said. Ambition goes down now. Core JJ looking like he's in a bad spot. Kube really far forward in the thick of 4 members. Crown on the roam down. Can he make something happen here? Throws out the Emperor's Divide. Going to pick Cougar into the wall, who has to flash out for the Pulverize. Trying to CC them as best as he can. Crown going to go down actually to the Ren here from Soul as they try to get onto Wraith. They can't get enough stacks into him to rend him out for the kill, but Kongdoo Monster coming out with 2 kills, not losing anybody, and probably netting themselves a tower off of that play.
Kongdoo Monster looking to be a big spoiler going into playoffs for Samsung if they pick up 1 win. All that Africa will have to do is to beat CJ Entus in their series next tomorrow.
Yeah. We can see from historically how it's been going, it's very likely that Africa will get that win. We'll take another look at this engage though. Overzealousness from Samsung.
Absolutely, they just didn't respect the Kalista at all. Samsung, they come in with a teleport, but it's teleport Gangplank. He has so much less immediate presence than a Maokai when you make those teleport plays. Soul plays this fight so smart, flashing away from the Azir, open up space. Crown just ends up taking 8 different auto attacks and gets rendered down, and in general, vastly outplayed in the team fight with Samsung.
Absolutely, we can see that nets Kongdoo a bit of a lead because they just turn it right on its head. Up by about 800 now with that dragon stacking in their pocket as well. First turret really going to be the bulk of that gold lead, however. But solid plays coming in from these guys. Cuvée really late to match that teleport.
It was the second game in a row with an unforced error. They were scaling up. They had a gold advantage despite having the later game power spiking comp. Devour Kindred because it's been in her jungle, farming up, but instead, Ambition gets too overeager, tries to fight with no Lamb's Respite, and well punished by Kongdoo Monster.
Never try to fight without Lamb's Respite.
Only in unintentional rhymes today.
Yeah, that should be the mantra for Kindred players.
Might just go so differently if...
Oh, here we go, trying again. Cougar is here, goes on the court. JJ, nice spell shield, will mitigate the pulver, or the headbutt here. Soul still taking a lot of damage from Wraith as he's trying to kite back. Pulverize comes through, so Wraith gets knocked up in the air. No one from either team ready to collapse, so just an interesting engage there. Maybe thinking that Cougar wasn't nearly as close as he was. No summoner spells from Soul, but it doesn't even matter, still gets out alive.
Weird to see Core JJ popping the ult and going aggressive. It's very difficult to win extended trades against a Callisto. You really want to burst her down with some targeted CC because, again, the Ren sets are real and extended trades almost always go over to the side of Callisto.
Yeah. As we saw in that fight. But we go back to the farming game starring Gangplank.
But this game at least co-starring him.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Keeping up, closer than he did in that first game, but we can see he's going to be going for armor early on here. As that chain vest as well as the glacial shroud in his inventory.
And Frozen Heart itemizes you against 3 people. Azir is an attack speed-based mage, so very, very satisfying purchase from a Maokai perspective.
Yeah, very strong pickup for him. Not going for the Rod of Ages.
Sad days.
Well, not necessarily if you're Kongdoo, who are applying really good pressure on the map. Look at Soul just bouncing around here. Cougar on the backside of this turret, just keeping Core JJ away. This is just going to be a tier 2 tower force out by Kongdoo. Keeping up the pressure and just getting these objectives.
Samsung nowhere to be seen. Crown takes a nice burst, returning to the Frozen Hard rush. Rod of Ages, needs stacking time. It does delay the game a bit. Immediate power spikes like Frozen Heart, again, against the delayed power spikes all across the board on Samsung, does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, it looks like he's making a little bit of an adaptation. Could be going for the Sunfire Cape. Ooh, we're going to be taking a bit of damage here from Ambition. Soul nearby to use the Fate's Call, and he will do so. Drags the Minotaur to safety and throws him over the wall.
Happy times for Alistair.
Very happy times, and happy times for Kongdoo Monster as a team, as we can see the second dragon started up, and Samsung are here to try to contest this, but there's little hope of a steal when there's a Callisto Rend in tow, and we can see this is not going to be contested. TP coming in the back, however, from Hippo. Can he catch Core JJ? Throws out the sapling on the hunt, gonna get popped, goes straight onto Ambition, who flashes away.
Oh.
We'll take that Javelin. Here comes Crush over the wall. Lamb's Respite gonna have to go down. The Cannon Barrage is here. Actually, the heal comes out from Core JJ, keeping him alive, but a nice help. Headbutt Pulverize, locks in Ambition. He can't use the Lamb's Respite, and he goes down. Emperor's Defy just trying to push them away as Edge joins the fight, and Kongdoo, yet again, netting an objective and a kill, and Samsung cannot answer for it.
It looked really optimistic to go for such a deep teleport play from Maokai. No home guards, of course. It's still only 16 minutes, but they pay it off. Ambition once again caught. This time has Lamb's Respite. Doesn't use it for a second fight in a row, and is punished.
Punished indeed. Kongdoo Monster starting to run away with a lead here. 3,000 gold up over Samsung. Just 17 minutes into this game.
It's worth
Kongdoo, where was this play earlier on in the season?
So this again, Ambition caught out. Doesn't use Lamb's Respite. Still doesn't use Lamb's Respite. And almost taking an Alistair perspective and trying to hold it to the last second. You can understand why, but it's just easily punished because the layering of the CC is very smart from Cougar.
Absolutely. It was just beautifully layered, followed up by that Javelin from the Nidalee to just confirm the kill and stop him from throwing down the life-saving ultimate. Even if he had that with the turret down, you have to wonder if Ambition would have been able to get out alive, or if he would have just gotten picked off all the same.
It's important to remember before we go overboard in complimenting Kongdoo that this comp is expected to win in the early game compared to Samsung's. We'd expect them to be about this gold lead ahead in an even game, just from pressure, just from the lane matchups they've picked into. Samsung's comp is very powerful in the late game, so while we'll give a pass mark to Kongdoo, it's good to see them make proactive plays. This game is by no means over.
Oh, definitely not. We can see Samsung not resting on defeat, going to go ahead and make some moves of their own, trying to get some objectives. Looks like they might trade towers. This bot tier 1 for the top, which would still give an innate lead over to Kongdoo Monster. But making moves all the same, finally picking up some objectives and opening up pressure on the map. Looks like we might have a race here for these tier 2s. We'll see if Kube is able to hold on.
Samsung have double AD and Sivir crucially with excellent turret damage, so they will lose the trade.
Yeah, he's about to have the cannon barrage as well. Throws it out to try to clear the minion wave. And Kongdoo are not going to be able to stick around, I don't think. No, they will. Heal coming out from Crush, giving that adrenaline boost to Soul, increasing the attack speed. They trade out the tower, and Kongdoo is still going to come out ahead. Now 3 towers up.
Excellent use of the Rift Herald. That's the reason why they opted into it. Okay, they don't have the Sivir, but the Rift Herald is the ultimate equalizer in that case.
Very good point.
No way for Gangplank to stop the push. So once again, it's been a story. Kongdoo Monster trading up. This is not something they've been able to do with any regularity this season, but great to see them do it here.
Yeah, and we can see Edge has finished the Morello Nomicon, so didn't get punished further after that first death of his, by going the route of the Frost Queen's claim.
This is definitely very high cooldown reduction, very high ability power, 40% already observed. So in extended fights, definitely going to see the benefits of the build he's gone for.
Absolutely. Ambition falling behind Crush as well in CS, which does not bode well for Kindred, who's trying to stack that Devourer as quickly as possible. We're nearing 20 minutes here in just 10 seconds. And he's at 20 marks, so it's going to be quite some time before he's able to finish out this Devourer. No kills, no Rift Herald, which would have netted him an extra 2 stacks. So Ambition falling behind this Nidalee.
And this 5,000 or 4,500 gold is reflected in completed item purchases on the side of Kongdoo. A lot of 2-item power spikes already observed.
Yeah.
And Samsung still in the building block phase. So Kongdoo need to keep up the pressure that they've definitely got in terms of items.
Yeah, going to be a really tanky Nidalee as well. As you can see, Rod of Ages was completed by Crush. Double items for Soul with that Blade of the Rune King and Hurricane completed. And now the Frozen Heart coming out for Hippo all the same. As he completes the Swift, he's trying to stay on top of the members of Samsung as much as he possibly can.
Outside chance of the Iceborne Gauntlet, but usually that's only in a very trade-heavy top lane. You don't really want to be taking trades against a Gangplank.
Yeah, the Frozen Heart is just so well itemized against this team of Samsung, as you were talking about earlier. Cougar, though, getting engaged on. Face Call, of course, is there to keep him alive. So Samsung not going to be able to find too much. Ambition taking a lot of damage. Already pops the Lamb's Respite just for fear of the damage from the LeBlanc.
Well, he at least learned 2 fights in a row. Was far too slow on it, so...
Yeah, use it rather than not and get popped.
Somewhere in the middle is what he's going to be shooting for next time.
Yep.
Definitely a fool me once, fool me twice scenario. Looking good. 3rd Dragon. Remember, they have the first 2, so...
Yeah. Could be a very fast stack up. Look at that damage still here from Edge onto Crown, despite the Abyssal Scepter not mitigating enough. Now maybe a collapse onto Kuve, who's on the run. Has that movement speed increase from these barrels to try to get him to safety, but Soul's coming through. Could just rend him for the slow. There's no tower. Here comes Edge. Can he get the chain? He could always cleanse this off with the orange. Dashes in, throws down the damage. Kuve jukes it out, burns the flash, and still goes down. Soul finishing him out. And this is looking like Kongdoo Monster might just be able to finish out this game with relative ease. Stretching that gold lead, do lose the tier 1 tower, but they're still up significantly. Hippo coming in onto Ambition, locks him up. No Lamb's Respite, nowhere to go. He's going to go down. It's Crush finding the kill. And First Divide comes out from Crown just to try to keep himself alive, but here comes Edge. The Ignite through, gets the Sigil. Can they follow up the damage? Cannot get it, flashes away from the Javelin. Now it's Core JJ who's in damage, or in danger of damage here. He's in damage. Flashes and heals on the hunt popped, and Samsung really just scrambling. Yeah, 22-minute Baron. Wraith, the only one nearby. Cord JJ on the roam back up, but it would certainly be a death sentence. Pulverize on the Wraith, boots him in. He goes down. Kube here trying to make something happen. Throws out the camera rush, doing a lot of damage onto Soul. Has to use the heal to try to keep him up. This could be the hero play from Kube. Baron goes down. Cougar, Fate's Call comes out. Should save it. They throw him back in. That was a little bit questionable, but Kube not going to be able to find any kills, so 5 members taking out the Baron at not even the 23-minute mark here from Kongdoo Monster, and they are 6,000 gold up.
I really like the assertive Baron play. Now, the assertive re-entry with the Fate's Call, that was a bit questionable.
Yeah, I thought the parlay was going to come out and just pop Cougar, but
Summoner spell heal was popped as well. Kongdoo do not want to give away this dragon, so they're coming towards it. But it's going to be taken down first by Samsung.
They do at least take away the potential 5th dragon here, or at least delay it away from Kongdoo Monster. But 5 members with Baron and Toe. We can see the push coming in already onto this mid lane. It's going to take a hell of a play from Samsung to get themselves back in this game.
And this is the only scenario where Kongdoo can have any semblance of siege. Remember, the wave clear advantage on Samsung is massive. Only LeBlanc and Kalista for wave clear certainly pales in comparison. As they're looking for a
pick
pick
onto Wraith, taking a lot of damage. Look at that Ren, almost taking him out. Barely has any HP now. Edge joining Fraze, it distorts over that wall, but not going to be able to find the follow-up with the Mimic. Could just be more extended pressure into this mid lane as Hippo is pushing out the top side.
Out of Hippo, bringing up a minion wave for them to transition to. Should be no way for Samsung to hold on to the outer mid lane turret. But for now, it still lives. Finally getting into it. Yep, smart for Samsung to see this, but it'll grow the gold lead.
Yeah, you can't fight this.
10,000.
It's not worth the tier 1 to fight. The tier 2, maybe you try to contest this with your wave clear, but even so, you can see the damage coming through. Edge takes a bit, but Nidalee's there to help sustain him up. Hold on to it for the time being, but Samsung just have to put their head between their heels and hold on for dear life as long as they possibly can. Try to wait for this Baron buff to expire. Kongdoo still continuing that push.
They're the big team watching this game, willing on Kongdoo Monster. A win for Kongdoo makes the Afrika Freaks jobs so much easier.
Yeah, we heard the chants in the audience for Kongdoo Monster, but the Freaks are definitely the biggest fans of Kongdoo at the moment. You can see the Javelin coming through, really hurting Crown. Gonna have to send him packing back to the base. Kongdoo Monster just setting up a camp in this mid lane, happy to continually just chip away at this tower. Anything they get off of this Baron buff is just a major advantage that they pick up as they continue to stretch that gold lead. This will be their 6th tower going down.
Comes the minion wave, nothing Samsung can do. That's 3 turrets now with the Baron buff. Nice play, Kongdoo.
Yeah. And you know, this isn't something that we see from champions, but sometimes we see it in other regions, especially in Challenger. Sometimes it's advantageous just to go ahead and surrender away the game and just focus on the 3rd. I know it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen from Samsung. There still is a semblance of a chance that they could come back in this one, but it's just looking so faint.
There's no white flags when this is the game that really cements your playoff status. Not 100%, but the best shot you're going to get.
Yeah, it's pretty damn
You've
close.
got Gangplank, you've got late game Azir, Sivir, and the Kindred. So you have a lot of late game power. If you're Samsung, you definitely want to dig in your heels and pull it late. Only 26 minutes in. 56 minutes, if the goal gets a lot closer to even. Good times for Samsung.
I don't know. At the moment, I just don't see it happening. But there could be that Hail Mary play that finds them the victory that they so desperately need. 8,000 gold up, though, is Kongdoo Monster here at 26.5 minutes. 4 towers of an advantage here as well for KDM.
Crush has gone the most tanky Nidalee build possible. Rod of Ages into Rylai's.
Yeah.
Wants to frontline and have at least some slows to go along with nice damage.
Yep, you can see Fate's Call getting used. Flash, Pulverize, they knock Ambition in. Lamb's Respite does come down, but can he get out of this one alive? I don't think it's very likely. Emperor's Divide comes through, but it's not enough to keep the Lamb alive. He goes down. Soul finds the kill. Kongdoo Monster just continue the slaughter toward the base here of Samsung.
Now the wave clear is still alive from Samsung.
Yeah, no Baron-powered minions, so the wave clear will be very powerful.
Yeah, no way to break the base.
We can see Hippo splitting on the bot side, has the teleport available, should a fight break out around this mid lane, so they're just going to continue this poke and siege up in this mid side.
They've got all the easy turrets though, Achilleos. Breaking the base is going to require a big turret dive.
Yeah.
That for now they don't want to pull the trigger on.
Could just be the wait for the next Baron. Could see another dragon fight break out here. Or a dragon fight break out. So it's going to be spawning in a minute and a half. Baron to follow 30 seconds later, just about. And Kongdoo Monster in such a strong position to be able to take both of those objectives. There is 5 wards, now 6 with that pink going down on the map for Samsung. And we can see that Their side of the jungle is just lit up for Kongdoo Monster. They can see every single move that Samsung is making.
Still need to push some pinks in. There's actually only one pink ward on the map from Kongdoo, so
yeah,
pushing a pink ward line. They've got 2 in the inventory, so they'll go on to do that.
Yeah, lastable vision is definitely something Kongdoo needs, but as far as forward and deep vision, they have a plethora of that at the moment.
Edge is looking very powerful. Got all the penetration items, working on a death cap as well. Got through the laning phase with a greedy item build, and now it's definitely benefiting him.
Absolutely. Edge going to continue this push to the bot side. You can see the Rabbitin's death cap getting ready to come out from him. Void Staff already completed. Looking like a very scary LeBlanc. Even if you block one of the spells with your spell shield, if you're Core JJ, you're still probably going to get popped. And look at this build from Soul, Phantom Dancer. Picked up here as the 3rd completed item.
Yeah, Phantom Dancer into, I guess, more of the Malmortius, so going for very much the Battle Kindred, a Battle Callista build.
Yeah, finish off with a Sterix Gauge, perhaps. The Never Die build.
The I don't want to be popped by a Gangplank barrel build.
Yeah, which is a very good build to have. You can see, though, no answer going to come out from Samsung as this 3rd dragon will be taken for Kongdoo Monster. 4th overall. And now Baron spawning in 15 seconds. That's going to be the real decider of this game, is whether or not Samsung are going to find their way back in, or if they're just going to get almost completely shut out.
And I really want to go in on the build from the Callista, because we don't always see this build, but I think it's very situational. If you have one of the comps that peels around Callista very well, say an Azir in the mid lane, also a tank top, the likes of a Kindred, you can go a more full damage build. But when you're in a game like this where Kongdoo want to use all their CC for aggressive catches, they're not looking to peel for the Kindred at all, go this build, allow Kindred to basically copy Sivir and fight with her tank line, because she's so inherently tanky and will keep fighting even if she observes a little bit of burst.
Yeah. See where he wants to finish out. We can see the Maul does get completed right there. Hippo still falling behind on the CS, but still a very tanky Maokai. As you saw, still delaying that Frozen Heart. Went for the Spirit Visage first and got the bonus little buy there for his Swifties as well.
Kongdoo setting up around a 2nd Baron. The first one was what really blew the game open for them.
Oh, trying to get a pick on a Wraith. He will be able to sprint away, but has to use the flash as well. Hippo now sitting in the base, looking for some kind of TP flank. The wards have waned a little bit in the jungle. There's those pinks standing, and a few in that top side of the jungle of Samsung that he could go to, but looks like he's just going to wander on back down to that bottom side and continue pushing that wave. Maybe allow for some pressure for Kongdoo to go ahead and engage on the Baron.
He really wants to draw Gangplank into the bottom lane to make sure that Gangplank can't set up the barrels and has to match TPs with a Maokai, who's so much more reliable in that scenario. And Kube shows in bot, and we're ready to go.
Here comes Edge. Emperor's Divide already out. Kube taking a lot of damage. It's a major cooldown burn just for Edge to walk forward. Crown getting a little too antsy and really fearing the damage that this LeBlanc can now put.
See Hippo backing. Wants that teleport play.
Wants that TP play, indeed. One ward thrown into the pit. Wraith taking so much that Chain not going to connect as he distorts back. But Edge barely going to take any damage in that trade. And a barrage going to have to be thrown out here by Kube momentarily. As we can see the TP coming through. Hippo holding on to his so far. And a barrage gets thrown out. It's going to be TP straight into the middle of Samsung as he follows one through. Gugu goes in with a face call. Pops up Crown, who gets locked down and bursted out. The Lambster Spike coming in all too late to save his life. Hippo going in. Gets a twisted advance onto Core JJ. Chasing him deep off of the flash. Pops him. That's going to be Ambition going down. Kube to follow. Wraith the only one alive. Hightailing it into the jungle of Kongdoo Monster, and they might have just won this game. 40 seconds on the death timers here. Kongdoo Monster going to force their way straight into the base of Samsung.
This is such an insane upset, Achilles. We penciled in a 2-0 win for Kongdoo Monster, but Afrika, if only we had a cam on them right now, the smiles will be wide as can be, because honestly, Samsung might not even win the series.
Yeah, this is looking so devastating for Samsung. Even just losing the one game is tough for them, but losing the set to Kongdoo puts the nail in the coffin just about here for them and their playoff hopes. But just like that, in 32 minutes, just about 33 minutes, Kongdoo Monster take down Samsung in a near shutout.
Their 18th series of the split, the second game of it, Kongdoo Monster easily put out their best performance of the year. Controlled, smart. They bought smart items early, things like Sunfire instead of the Rod of Ages on Maokai. They went for the immediate power spikes, they grouped and fought around them, and Samsung, the greedy draft, came back to her foot the second time around.
Yeah, what a hell of a performance from Kongdoo Monster. And this was with ambition, getting one of his desired picks in the jungle. Just couldn't create the pressure necessary. And you have to wonder, maybe they should have gone for the Nidalee first pick rather than prioritizing the Azir, because Crown did almost nothing in that game.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Achilles. It was a really great performance from Kongdoo with such a hard comp to execute. Didn't have a lot of wave clear. If they ever fell behind, the game would have probably been iced by Samsung. But they took their chances. They were assertive, specifically around their first Baron. And that first Baron was what really blew open the game.
Yeah, and now with that loss, Samsung, if they can close out the series, have to rely on a 2-1 for Africa or a loss. It's got to be a loss, actually. We'll see what happens when we come back for Game 3, Kongdoo versus Samsung.